Hey, it's Audrey, and welcome back to Squirrel. This episode is the final chapter of a big, messy, beautiful conversation with Ellie, Yule, and Annie. It's where things get personal and political. What is privilege really? Can wisdom matter more than wealth? And are we, as Gen Z, actually responsible for changing the world, or just trying to survive it? Let's get into it.
Let me throw this back on you, because you asked me this earlier. Do you think there's a point where failure is not a blessing? Is there a point where you can't get through it?
No.
Where it can't be used as growth?
I think it depends on you. So if
I was going to say that.
My grandma says this thing where he says life is like a, what do you call it? Like a
roller coaster.
It's like a coil. It's like a coil where you it bounces up and down.
Goes down the stairs.
That's a
goes
bug.
A spring.
A spring.
Yeah.
Life is like a spring.
That's what I was thinking of. Yeah.
I was thinking, like if you're
really
weak,
down, you'll be pushed.
If you're weak. It was in Chinese, but essentially it's like, if you're weak, life is strong. But if you're strong, life is weak. So I think that the idea is, nothing is too hard for you, except if you make it too hard for you. So if you say, this hardship is gonna kill me, I can't make it past, you're not gonna make it past. But if you say, I will make it past this hardship, then you can make it past.
I think it's also hard though sometimes.
No, but think about it.
I think it's true, but I think it's hard to remember that when you're going through
Right.
a hardship. Like, I
100%.
think in the positive moments, you're like, wow, I can do this. Nothing can break
It's
me.
like, it's not linear, it's exponential.
Yeah.
It's like this. Like, when you're happy, it's really easy to be motivated, but when you're sad, it's really hard to be, slipping down that slope, it goes down really fast. But, I really like that's so true, because, how does anyone overcome anything? You do it. You do it. How do you overcome addiction? You don't drink. It's just, and obviously that's really difficult sometimes, but you just do it.
One thing would link back to the Bible is it says God won't test you beyond what you're capable of succeeding. They say more fancy and stuff, but then that idea you can't fail. Even a failure is still eventually you'll get there.
I think
that's what you said.
All of these ideas agree that failure is
A blessing.
failure is, you can overcome failure.
It's not bad.
Yeah, so if all these arguments, including the Bible, says that, past people, ancient people, they have been through this experience. So our hope is that we can do it. If they can, in the past, if they could do it, we can do it too. That's the thing I want to focus on, instead of just looking at the pain. We can do it. We can achieve hope out of this negativity.
I just think it's hard for a lot of people to see that, and that's why I think we are very blessed that we have this support system here. We have people where if we can't.
Intellectual conversation.
Join.
I kept seeing you guys.
We've been talking for a while, but
You guys can leave it in this.
yeah. I think the thing is that you need if something bad happens here, I know I have the support system to catch me. There's a safety net, and I think the issue is that not a lot of people feel like they have that, and so it's it feels a lot harder for them.
Well, then that's
I think. I was gonna say that too. I think one of the reasons it's really easy to be in a privileged place and look at someone who's underprivileged and say, "Oh, why don't they do X, Y, and Z and fix their problems?" But when you're in that place and any risk feels like failure is inevitable, it's really hard to overcome that. We were talking about war on drugs. Quick example. War on drugs was about cocaine mostly, but conviction rates were 80% to 20, 80% black people, 20% white people. Crack cocaine, which was typically an African American drug, was the punishments were way harder than powder cocaine, etc. So clearly it was racially motivated, and we were talking about, we can all agree that yes, drugs are bad, and we got to the point where the people the drug addicts should just do it. Even you have a really privileged person who's addicted to drugs and a really unprivileged person who's addicted to drugs, their ability to overcome that is often different. Privilege affects a lot of things that you don't think about until you're in the situation. I guess.
I have a question with that. Drugs remind me of something I'm doing for my LJP is like with like homelessness in my area. And then we usually think of a lot of people end up homeless because of their drugs, alcohol, addiction, whatever. But most people who end up drinking while homeless or doing drugs while homeless get that addiction while they're homeless. Like drugs can get really pain, beer, alcohol can make you feel warm, whatever. Then I never realized that before. And it reminds me, like, if everyone was informed the same, and everyone understood their privilege the same, like, how would the world change? And would that solve all the problems? Is it really just like an information thing, an education?
Yeah, like, I think a lot, like, what was that? I don't remember the quote, but it was like, education is how you, like, it's like the biggest proponent of change. Because, especially generationally, like, if you can instill education in, like, impression, like, you could, like, Google, for instance, is, I think one of the reasons you're such an empathetic person is because of how you were raised. Like, you would agree with this too. That is so fundamentally important, like, nature over nurture, whatever combination, like, that's so fundamentally important for how you live your life and how you will forever live your life.
That's why I want to
That's education.
That's why I want to become an artist. Because if you, how I'm gonna return it back to the society, what I've been privileged, is that I'm gonna make a culture that everyone can consume, not based
On their own terms.
on the parents or like their households. Cinema, with like a proper place that they can learn these empathy. I want to make those kind of movies.
But how do you make, because not the movies are, I feel, is a very, lots of people go to the movies, but I also think it's become a very privileged thing to, because like now it's mostly streaming services and like movies are
Pragmatic.
It's because I feel like I think it's very, I like
It's okay, Annie, I like
thinking theoretically, but I think the issue is that it's not realistic, and when like you can
Change can't happen.
Yeah. And I think I love the idea that I think that's a great idea. I think you just have to, like, how do you propose making it accessible for people who can't afford to go to the movies, can't afford
The people
to
who
go to a
watch your
film
movies
festival?
already know this stuff.
So that's why I'm studying. I'm studying how to make theaters like a proper place again, not instead of just watching OTT Netflix stuffs. And back to the concept where that's why we don't return things now. We're still learning how to make the world all privileged place.
I think I know what you mean there, but I think with like the idea of keeping what we have as an investment for our future is an excuse, because Mercersburg is not a real return on investment. 70 grand over 4 years. Like, I know it assists a lot. Like, it's helped me, it's great. But my local public school is not that bad. Like, realistically, I think the investment idea doesn't work.
I have to disagree though, because I feel like the public school system, although you can look at it and you can be like, oh, it's great. And I agree, Cole, just like where we live, like our public schools are great. Like our public schools are really great. But even when I look at like my public school friends back home and what they have to do to get to it for like in order to earn an A and what we have to do to earn an A, it's so drastically different. And we are set up so much better for life in general when we get to come
But
here.
I think anyone here, sorry to interrupt, but anyone here has a good public school at home. Maybe not all, but like 90% have a solid public school.
What about
to fall
international
back to.
students though?
Maybe that's different.
I think I'm thinking about this a lot different than you. You guys are thinking like money. Like, I think Mercersburg, like, Mercersburg's impacts on us, on me at least, go far beyond monetary value. Like, I think like the values and personal growth that Mercersburg has instilled in me will impact my life. Could very well be monetarily, but also just personally, and I think like that personal growth can contribute to societal change more than money can sometimes.
And I go back to my safety net, like of people around
Do you
you
agree
would
with that?
rally.
Like, I think if
I know what
everyone's
you mean, but we're still paying this money, and my thought is, I love Mercersburg, and I've learned a lot here, but this could be done other ways.
Do you think we would get these non-monetary benefits from Mercersburg? Let's say these conversations if you weren't as privileged.
No.
I was as, like, are you saying if I was unprivileged but I still was going to school? Like, what do you mean?
No, like if you don't have an opportunity like this.
I would say like you can, but I think like environments like these foster those experiences. I think it's almost impossible to go through 4 years here and not have at least one experience like this. Like I think it forces you to become like what I was talking about earlier, where like you have to be uncomfortable to grow. Mercersburg forces you to be uncomfortable, and I think like public schools in general, or not just public schools, but like any other type of learning besides what we have here, doesn't necessarily do that. Or if it does, it's to a lesser extent.
Mercersburg is in a bubble, and I think that's really great. Both like education-wise, I know states, and even where I'm from back in Hong Kong, there's a lot of media censorship, so you don't even get the full picture. I think Mercersburg is very lucky to be a private institution where that doesn't affect our views. We have teachers from different political views, and I think having a rounded-out view really helps. And especially in public schools, I know that isn't that common. My friends in Florida, she can't write anything for her newspaper without it getting taken down. Her teachers are very one-sided, I would say, and I feel like even though I pay a lot of money to come here, I do get some return on investment through
Networking.
I would also say in terms of like monetary investment, as somebody who's here on like almost full financial aid, like our school is also very good at providing financial aid compared to many other schools. So I think that's also something to point out. Where it's like even though some people are paying like
Yeah, I'm going here for free.
Yeah, I'm going here, I'm on over 90% aid, and I think our school is like 30%
40.
Yeah.
40%.
Actually, I think it's like
So
60.
I would
It's
say
40%.
that, but that's also the 70,000 you're paying to come here is also going into the community by providing people who don't have the same monetary funds to have access to these types of
Yeah, I actually agree with that. And like politically, like I 100% agree. It's maybe good for like diversity in opinions, but we're also like very fostered, very isolated. I think there's like earlier someone mentioned like an hour and a half ago, like about how a lot of the people on Mercersburg are here and then later they'll give back. But I don't think anyone, like realistically speaking, I can't say anyone at the school actually
Giving
back
more than
the amount that
70,000
they've
times more.
literally just been handed. Like the 70,000 aside, like also the amount that like people are put in situations to get here to begin with. Like my family is not struggling financially more than just Mercersburg. But like it's tough to imagine that all the people at the school will give back, given that they're so isolated. Because there's also, quite frankly, like a wealth thing. Like we're all obviously coming from different backgrounds, but like also very similar. I think there's some things that need to be experienced to be learned, to be like seen firsthand, to be like actually understood.
How, like, personally, I don't think our obligation to lesser privileged people goes as far as the extent that you are saying it should. I think that's where I disagree, because I think like what I said earlier, like, and maybe a hot take, I don't think it's immoral to not make serving underprivileged people a priority in your life. I think meaning, happiness, and love should be prioritized personally rather than giving back to society. And like I see that as a very community oriented and like socially, like I love community. Like I'm a very community oriented person, but I don't think that like I think everyone's personal search for meaning and happiness and love should be prioritized over monetary value.
Yeah.
I'd have to agree with Annie, just because I think I understand what you're saying, that like people aren't giving back to the extent that they should, but then again, is it really?
I'd be interested in like why do you think
Yeah.
that monetary value should be above?
I mean, I think it's
Can I make a brief distinction before you? I think a distinction we should make between, like, when we say giving back, one is giving back that's almost symbolic. I have enough money, I'm just going to give some of that back. And it doesn't hurt me at all. It makes me feel like I'm helping them, but it doesn't hurt me at all. And it might be a pretty trivial amount of money. But the other giving back, and I think this is maybe what Cole's saying, is like giving back that it hurts you. Like, you're sacrificing some of your luxury or your life to give for other people. And I think these are very different types of giving back.
I think it's true, and I think like me and Lily will be on the side of giving back
so it doesn't hurt.
So it doesn't hurt.
Right.
Yeah.
I think I don't. Alright, no like rudeness to this.
No,
I just don't
100%.
want to like phrase anything wrong and mess up.
No,
But,
it's fine.
I think that there's things. I've come from privilege, and I'm never in danger at home. Blah blah blah. But you go to Hagerstown with some of the day students, and then they're like, "This area is really sketchy, really scary." It's like that's their view. That's the worst that they've ever seen. Like, I think that maybe there's certain things you have to actually see. Like, I'm well off, but not my family wasn't.
You're saying like
There's things you have to. Like, I go back to the country where my dad's from, and it's things. And I think when you experience stuff, I think that's back to the education thing, and people just seeing everything. If everyone was given like the same teachings and seeing the exact same things, we'd have like a more generous view of something like that.
I think
It's
Mercersburg teaches you like, to give a good point. Mercersburg itself is a really big bubble, and people are talking about going to college. It's scary because it definitely is a different experience. But I think Mercersburg at least gives you like the tool to handle these situations, and I think education plays like a really big point in it. I know people who don't have the privilege of being in a private high school, and when they go see these atrocities, they blame it on other problems, and that's what people do when they're scared. And I really feel like having a better education just makes you approach it differently.
I mean it more.
I know what you mean, Cole. You mean like
Mercersburg is a
if
great
we've
quality
seen worse
institution
things,
with
we would be
education,
more generous.
and it'll teach us all the great things to be great students and all of that. It's like really great academics. But maybe Mercersburg is also teaching us to naturally
Underestimate
ignore
society.
a lot of stuff and underestimate the actual problems that exist.
So it's like how because we're isolated and
We're in like a
going
really
into
nice
the
bubble that's
community.
teaching us really great things, but ignoring a different aspect.
It's like you're kind of desensitized.
Yeah.
I really agree that you have to see things to truly understand how it feels. I had this one conversation with this teacher. She was like, I think we were talking about war, and I said, if we never experienced war, we would never truly understand how much pain that is. Just by reading in education, just by hearing it by education, that wouldn't actually make us feel the pain. We all know that war is bad, it is painful, but we don't exactly know how much that is. And I agree with Cole that Mercersburg is I'm really privileged to be in here, but sometimes I feel like I should.
It's more beneficial to experience tragedy.
The first few days I came here, I thought I was living in a bubble back in Korea, because these type of people were so much diverse people compared to the Korean education. And now I feel like I gotta expand more.
I have two things. First, I think this is really highlighting why you hate Elon Musk. Because Elon Musk is exactly the type of person who, like, has seen tragedy, has experienced tragedy, grew up not very well off, and now is actively choosing to. He has so much money he has the real pragmatic ability to solve a lot of issues coming from his own country, and he chooses not to. Like, I think that's what really works about him.
Elon Musk went to the same high school as my uncle.
Really?
Yeah. Sure, I see a lot of similarities.
But I think my second thing is, I think why we disagree is because I think you're undervaluing contributions someone can make that aren't to society that isn't monetary. Like, I think the tools and the resources that Mercersburg provides and the greater college experience and life, I think you can give back to your community in ways that that might even be more beneficial. Okay, I wouldn't say more beneficial but to your community are more beneficial.
I know what you mean.
I have to agree though, I agree with both sides, because I do agree that there is a bubble at Mercersburg, as Asami was saying too, where it forces us to, oh, that's not going to happen to us. Oh, it won't happen to me. And I agree, like, when people at our school like, go to Hagerstown, they're like, oh, it's so scary, it's so sketchy, like, yada. And it's really not, like, that bad in the grand scheme of things. But I also agree with you. I think Mercersburg brings a different value, and not all the value that it brings has to be the monetary value. And people can bring change. Even though it's not money, they can bring change socially.
I think it goes back to the fundamental idea of would you rather
Be poor and
yeah.
But Elon Musk chooses to have that monetary value. What if
That's why I don't think billionaires are ethical.
we don't see the logic? We quite don't understand the logic of them.
Yeah.
But I have a belief that they probably have something within them, even though they see the truth, they choose the other way. Maybe there's a reason behind it.
I think that's human. We can sit here and criticize him all we want. Like, this guy, he has so much money. Like, why doesn't he give to the poor, to the That's what we're doing. I think I want to go back to the first thing you said was like on a small scale. And I think, Cole, you've been saying this, like, in our conversations, we've been saying we should. I want to. This is what we should do.
I fully admit that I would not.
Like, you admit that you don't, like, there's a difference between wanting to do something and knowing you should do it versus, like, actually doing it. And that's, I was just gonna say, that's the moral dilemma. If everybody did what they thought they should do.
But this comes back to, I think this might relate to what you're saying. This comes back to, is empathy inherently human, or is it built by society?
I kind of have two things though. One of the things I would say also is that it's really easy, like, as a billionaire to rationalize what you're doing, because, like, also going back to, like, monetary versus, like, social change a little bit, is you could say, I don't know, maybe not Elon Musk, but, like, some other billionaire, it's like, what they're doing is they need the money so that they can better society in general. So, like, the technological improvement and things like that. So I feel like it's easy to rationalize what you would do as a billionaire, even though it's not.
So this comes back to Cole's thing about, should we focus on, like, future human life or suffering that's instantaneous?
I think I found a logical way to
To what?
about my investment thing. Us criticizing the millionaires is the same morality with millionaires spending on their choices. They have a choice and they made it. Us, we don't even have a choice and we just criticize it. What are we gonna do? Our only choice is become millionaires like them.
To make the other choice.
And to make the other choice. That's the only choice that we have.
But that's focusing on monetary aspect. Whereas I would...
But Annie, I completely agree with your point, but how do you give back? Yeah. How do you give back non-monetarily?
I think
a teacher?
I think it's obviously less impactful in terms of a large scale. You're not, I mean, you could. Well, like, you can be a pillar of your community. You can volunteer. You can even just, like, on such a small scale, like, these conversations, I think we're impacting each other positively right now. You know what I mean? I think, because this comes back to definitions of success. Like, we're defining success as a successful job, a family that you love. And I think, yes, that is definitely successful, but also, like, I could be so depressed right now and in the worst place in my life and have this conversation that's just, like, intellectual and interesting to me and something that I'm passionate about, and that positively affected my life. I might be so depressed, I might be poor. There's so many things that, like, it might not inherently, like, better your situation objectively, but you are better as a person. I think actually I changed my mind about, I think it's less about love and happiness and meaning. Actually, I think it's more about meaning and also growth. Like, I think like, growth should be the objective of life.
And I think love is also, there's a philosopher there's still no one from maths here. There's a philosopher called Jean Cazès, and she talks about necessities.
I would also agree with that.
She has, like, a list of basically if you have these things in your life, you will be happy. And one thing is growth, personal growth. Another thing is, like, meaning. Another thing is love. There's a few things that she says, with these things you'll be happier. But, I think, okay.
We don't have to be happy.
Yes.
Oh, that's another question.
Yes! Failure!
Okay.
I guess I just said that.
Philosophy.
Like, I could be depressed and still wrong.
philosophers like Epicurus, hedonism, and ultimately, when you ask the question, what is the meaning of life, or what is your goal in life, a lot of people are going to say happiness.
But I think they're mistaken. With failure, if you fail, like instinctually for a second, you're gonna feel like a disappointment or like a negative thing, right? Which can be nice, but if you dwell on that and you stay sad, never striving to use that failure to make you happy, then it's worth nothing.
There's no thing like ultimate goal.
There's an ultimate goal for people.
For some people,
Like for me, for example, like my ultimate goal is to have a family and be like to have my family stable, like a stable. That is an ultimate goal I have. And although that might not be the end all be all, and that might not happen, something might not, like something might affect that, like it might not happen. That is an end goal of mine, and I feel like a lot of people do have end goals like that, where they have this one thing that they're striving for, and it doesn't necessarily.
Would you say they're mistaken?
I thought about this analogy. I was thinking, is death a goal?
I think that's valid because to some people death can be a celebration of life. Like
Then
you've lived a
you
life.
can die right now and be fine.
Yeah, you can.
Wait, let's hear. Here's the point.
It's just like that. If happiness or pain is a goal, you can just do that and then end your life. What is the point of living? You have to go on and on. Growth. It goes on and on. There's no stable one ultimate goal.
Yeah, I agree. Because, like, with Lily's point, like, when you reach your family, your stable family, like, what's next? What is your next purpose in life now that you've reached your
To
goal?
keep them, like, to then set them up. Because if I were to achieve that goal and then I died, and then that wouldn't be stable for them anymore. Does that make sense? Like, I think once I have my family, that's not the end all be all, because then, like, I could have them and then enjoying them, but also I think about this a lot. If one of my parents died right now, like, that would significantly affect my family dynamic, how things happen, and, like, I think a lot of people can agree, like, if they logistically, just, like, everything in my life would be thrown off, and I don't think that would be, like, the right completion of their story either. Like, I feel, do you know what I mean? There's things that happen that it isn't the end goal, and they happen. But if one of my parents, both lived happy, great lives and live a happy, great life right now, and that might be their goal in their life, but if they died, that wouldn't... They've achieved happiness, but if they died, then
the goal would be lost.
completely.
Kyle, what were you gonna
Well, I
say?
still don't think there's any ultimate goals. Cause if there's a really ultimate goal, like my personal goal is I just want to be rich and a billionaire, right? A lot of people ask, what do you want to do with that money? I don't really have an answer, but you'll never know what you want to do with that money until then. Like, you'll never know what you're going to do after the ultimate goal. See, why do you want a happy family? Because you think happiness is your goal, right? My goal is the money.
No, he's valid.
That's valid. That's
Why
valid.
is your life measured in money? You know?
I think I personally think money leads to happiness. Like, with
So
money, you can do
then
anything.
your ultimate goal would be happiness, though, right?
Yeah.
With the money, will be happiness. But I'm saying that.
But see, we were talking about, I don't think you were here when we were talking about this, but we were talking about how, like, when money becomes, like, money is a positive thing when it's a means to an end. So if you're using money to, I'm stealing Audrey's point, because Audrey's smartest, but if money is a means to an end and the end is happiness, like, that's where money's a positive. But if money is the ends, then there's no point.
Is it worth $1 billion just so your bank account can say you have $1 billion, or is it worth spending?
But I'm saying automatically when you reach that amount of money, you'll find another goal. Because people desire anything. Like, people desire always. And that means like once you reach that goal, you find another goal automatically. That's the meaning of life. Finding your desire, finding your goal.
I agree. Like, I think that not like the money part, but like the part where like your goals are constantly changing. Like us, like our goal right now is get into college, but what after that?
We don't know.
Applying to the like grad school. Like
And
our
it
goals
might
are never
change.
ending and constantly evolving.
I think money and happiness can go hand in hand. Personally, I'm not a mega church member, but I also know a lot of people mega churches. Oh, if I give money, then something good is going to happen to me. And it's like those two things that tie into people like so directly into their lives. And I do feel like striving for money is a good thing. Maybe I want to be healthy. And I don't think billionaires for keeping money is wrong. I think, yes, they should give back to the community, but how are they going to give back? Are they going to give back to... Obviously, I feel like there's no right choice. You give back a lot of money and it's like a bad, quote, bad thing.
That's not to be this like theoretical demon again, but like I think that like I agree with you. I think it's hard to give back in a purposeful way, but that's because of the system. I don't think that's because of wealth. Does that make sense? Like,
I want to say something about billionaires. Like, you guys think that billionaires live like
I think billionaires are enough.
really prosperous? It really depends on the person. Like, I've met like some of my friends are billionaires, but like, it doesn't mean they live like they get Rolexes like every day, and like their parents still think about, oh, my like son's going to NYU, and New York is like so expensive even for them.
I think that's worse though. I think if you're gonna have all that wealth, at least enjoy it. At least indulge in luxury.
I know they have the choice, but I'm not saying they live like a spoiled kid, like spoiled person.
What
Like,
is that?
maybe,
But so no, but
Well,
so then what are they doing with that
what he's
extra
saying.
wealth?
I
Just from the
understand what
perspective
he's
of the
saying
person.
is like
Thank
they
you for
understand
providing
the
that
value of a dollar. It's not
Yeah.
lost on them.
I think it is lost. Because I think the value of a dollar in the U.S. or in Korea, the U.S. dollar is still worth a lot less than it is in other places. And that's still to perspective. Like, the U.S. dollar to me means less than it does to someone poorer than me, but more than to someone a billionaire.
that's just depend on the perspective. Like, it's depends on the education you got. Like, for example, if your parents constantly told you about how much like money like means, like even small amounts, it really depends on like how you're grown up, how you're raised. It doesn't depend on like how much money.
How can you like? I think Cole would disagree, but I think me and Lily would agree on like it's ethical to have luxury. Like I don't think, or I don't know. I don't want to speak for your opinion, but I think it's ethical to have luxury. But the line at where you draw that luxury, like you don't even have to be a millionaire to live in luxury. Like the difference between a millionaire's luxury and a billionaire's, like 100 million is 1/10 of a billion. You know what I mean? Like the million and billion are so far away. Like how can you excuse, like there can't be a difference in luxury between a million. So how can you excuse all that money just virtually being worthless?
Just like sitting.
When it would be worth so much to so many people.
But I also feel like this goes back into a little bit of what we were talking about, human selfishness, but also like selfishness as in like within your family also, because a lot of that it goes into like trust funds or like for their future generation. So I can't speak because I'm not
Alright,
exactly
make it
a
10
billionaire.
million.
Okay, but the thing
But,
is,
like-
even like 10 million.
What if you're saying I want to
realistically
store
not
that for my
always
children
a lot.
so they don't have to live
Why is
like
the
I did?
child of a billionaire more entitled to wealth than the child of a farmer?
I
I think because it's the familial tie,
just
the
love.
fact that
Familial
they
tie.
have a
Yeah.
direct connection.
But
Like
morally, how do you
I-
say
like, I
I
would be-
deserve this money because of what the people before me did? More than the person standing next to me who just didn't get as lucky.
I think it's just how they were born into it, and I think people just have to recognize it. But I have to go to say, I think like personally,
There's a
if I
level.
knew somebody, like I'd be more willing to help them if one of you guys like needed something really badly, I'd be more willing to give it to you guys because like I have this connection with you. Rather than someone just random asking me for someone, like this situation.
It's still, to me, that's still.
It's
I'm
unfair.
fortunate enough to know you.
Yeah.
It's all
Yeah,
just like,
it's
I mean,
unfair.
it is
Yeah.
unfair, but that's
It's
how life
fortunate
is.
enough to know you too.
Yeah.
I'm lucky to
Oh,
be.
no.
Yeah, thank you.
But I think we can't say that it's like we can't. We're very fortunate to know each other, but we can't dwell on the fact that like other people don't know us and then discount us. You know what I mean?
You can't say that's your fault.
Yeah, and
I think Cole is just trying to say that it's so unfair.
yeah,
I think my
and I
perspective
agree.
is that there's no need. I love community. But there's no need, in my eyes, to
Prioritize your community over
prioritize your
others.
community. Exactly. Over them.
I actually
think if you-
disagree.
I
I think
disagree too.
prioritizing your community like inherently makes the world stronger because if everyone prioritizes their community, then theoretically all communities should.
Isn't that how...
And then at one point, one community can be great.
Privileges, yeah.
But I think one community, once they get strong, then they can start to branch out.
No shit,
My
that's the same
community-
thing we were
my
talking about with
community where I
like
live-
building wealth to give back, but realistically you're not going to
trickle
down economics doesn't work.
We're fine, but to each his own is not giving back that much to the general masses.
Okay, and Yule, this goes back to what you're saying. Trickle-down economics. You're saying we should become in the place of the billionaires so now we can give back. That's trickle-down economics.
Again,
Holy shit, you changed my mind.
Wait, what changed?
I agree with you now.
On what point?
I was more on the side of you should, and I still think you should build your wealth. I'm not saying that, but like I was more on the side of yes, you should build your wealth to an extent to give back, and I still think because my opinion, I feel very strongly that like meaning and purpose and growth mean more than monetary above shelter and food and water. I still think that means more to me, but I think it's to a lesser extent because when also not even think about how like you're talking about like segregation and how prejudice is built is because Mr. Hannon said something really interesting. We were talking about Mercersburg Academy as an institution is historically a place to ensure generational privilege. Like, rich white people would send their sons to Mercersburg because it ensured their continued privilege. You know what I mean? And, like, theoretically, a trust fund, even generally, like, giving back to your community typically means giving back to those who are, obviously we have a very diverse community, but, like, typically means giving back to people who are on a similar level of you. You know what I mean? And so, like, that builds concentrated wealth and doesn't benefit society as a whole.
So what's the solution?
I think that ensuring the wealth of your children shouldn't be a bad thing.
I don't think that's...
But I also agree that it shouldn't be your only concern. I think you should
like,
be able to
Sorry.
give back to other people.
I'm just, like, like, what Chloe said about, like, why should your community be prioritized over another community is really, that's why the world is so unfair.
That's how
if everyone
started.
Yeah,
That's where it all comes
if
from.
everyone prioritized external communities like they prioritize their own, the world would be a really good place. But and it makes complete sense why we don't, because obviously I'm going to be more prone to helping out you than I am some random person on the street. But it's like that lack of this is what I think. Like I think empathy is societally I think people are more empathetic due to society than because the reason why I'd be more inclined to help you than some random person is because I interact with you and I know you and you also give me things. Like me helping you inherently probably means that on some level you might be able to benefit. I might be benefited by my action of helping you. Whereas if I give $20 to some homeless person on the street, there's like virtually no way that's gonna positively impact me in the future directly.
One thing I want to say is that Cole's complaint about being unfair means that the world is so limited that we are limited to our own community and limited to our relationships. But the thing is it going to be empathy if we focus on the other community, the community that we're not familiar with? How are we gonna?
Is it even empathy? Because you can't empathize with someone you don't have a relationship with.
Yeah, you would like just giving a beggar a $20 bill. Is that empathy? That's not.
I would say it is.
That's
It's
more
more
sympathy.
Yeah,
How do we?
I want to hear what Kyle thinks.
How do we change?
Sorry,
How do we change another? How do we change the world, like the whole world, if we just give them monetary
Maybe that's why you
value?
need your movies.
Yeah.
We have your movie.
Just hand them a
What
movie.
were you gonna say?
No, I'm just saying. I feel like there's a difference between like empathy and sympathy. I've given there was like this woman. I'll say about like where I live is like really privileged, right? There's this one woman on the street making like treats for kids, and she's there every time, like on winter and stuff. So I thought I've given her like $50. Like a YouTuber, I've seen him on YouTube, like gave her like $1,000, and she's still there. And I don't know, but like going back to the inheritance part, I feel like the money your parents acquired and how the inheritance goes to your kids, that's how they want to use their money. That's based on their choice, right? And once you earn the money, it's your choice to use how you want
Sure,
to use
but
the money.
is that choice moral?
And I would say it's not even earned.
A lot of situational
Like-
privilege.
I'm not more skilled than a lot of people, but I'm gonna do better than a lot of people.
But I get the.
But I think if it wasn't you, it would be someone else. If that makes sense, like you're gonna be giving that someone has to succeed. Yes, someone else is gonna take your spot and succeed and go up, and so it's
I
like.
wasn't earning this.
Yeah, but
There's no like I did this. I think that's like a false feeling.
But I also think you can't discredit what you have done. I think like you can't like Cole at the very beginning, like when not everyone's here, you said I'm not the smartest one in the room, which is like discrediting all that you have worked for. And I know that you've had an easier path.
Even if Cole was the smartest man, was a freaking genius, he still wouldn't have earned his parents' money.
There's gonna be people smarter than me who will never get nearly as far as I get, but simply because of what the people before me have done.
I understand that, but I also think you can't discount the fact that you also. I understand there are people who don't work a single day in their life and they have money, but I'm saying like I think you can't discount yourself because not everybody.
I'd rather make $1 million working easily in an office than make $1,000 my whole career working some hard job mining the batteries for a Tesla all the time. Like, it's relatively, I still don't think I'm working very hard.
I just want to ask Cole. I completely agree, and I think we all agree. Like, it's unfair, but I guess what is your?
What are you gonna do?
Yeah, that's why I want to ask. Like, what's the point?
We just all have to be more generous. And if you think that means you invest in yourself now, and then later you become double as generous, then like I can get behind that too.
Okay. Yeah.
How do you explain why you're entitled to your parents' money? Obviously on a,
I'm just saying it that you guys all know Korea's really big issues. They're not making babies, right?
Yeah.
We don't have enough babies.
You're not making babies.
One of the big reasons they don't make babies is because they don't think they have enough money to raise kids. Some people's like meaning to have babies, have kids, is to give them a rich life. Like I'm saying here that like I don't know about America, but at least in Korea, a lot of people don't make babies because they don't think they have enough money, enough time to raise babies, and like the reason the kids have the money entitled to them is because they're the child of the people who earned the money, and that's the reason they want to spend money like to their kids. Like why would my parents spend money on me? Because they want me to have a rich life, and they will inherit me money because they want me to have a life that like maybe they have lived, or at least they have lived at the end of their life. Like it's all about the happiness of like your relatives, like your kid, their relatives, your community. That's your relative, right? They want them to be happy because you know them. That's empathy.
Yeah, so I think that comes back to the.
I also just feel like if you're saying like why are you as a child of your parents like entitled to have money, I guess that also goes into the question of why are other people also entitled to get donated to in a sense.
Yeah.
Why do we? Yeah, like,
So, like-
that's what we talked about at the beginning. Like, we all agreed that to some extent, at least, privileged people are responsible for underprivileged. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, like to have privilege, you would have to been given, not given,
Like,
but
we
like you
agreed
would
that
have.
it was ignorant if you were rich to not at least give something
Something back to the community.
So like what Audrey's point though was like, you can give back to a point where it doesn't hurt you at all, or you can give back to a point where like Cole would say where it does hurt you. Like your luxuries are going down, your amenities are going down, but you're donating more. You know what I mean?
I guess it also depends on like where you're at in life then. Because like this is a little like very specific.
Build it up
like,
to give it back, or
Yeah,
give it back
I would say
and
build
let
it up.
everyone build it up.
I would say build it up to give it back because
It's idealistic.
This is Booker T. Washington versus W.
oh my god.
Wait,
Stop it with the A+.
Oh hell.
Hell
We need to
no.
study for that too.
Like,
We do.
I feel like redistributing wealth is really part of the government, not the part of the billionaires. Think about it, like government takes off taxes to support the citizens, and it's their part to get rid of
Redistribute wealth.
redistribute wealth and get rid of what I
So
call
are you
like,
pro-socialism?
no. But what I'm saying here is that the problem is that rich people like fully. I feel like that's not the flaw, but someone has a flaw here. But I'm saying that it's like your own choice to give money or not. You can't expect them to give money back to their like community or to an extent like to people you don't know. That's just human. Like you feel like more close to people. Like
Sure. But do you still have a responsibility to set aside those feelings and do the right thing.
I think actually our problem is don't think we should think about it as a responsibility. Like even though we naturally do, or think that we're like entitled to do this and we should be doing this. It's just, I think it's just the way that things are meant to be. Maybe they should be that way, but I don't think it's like a responsibility or a burden necessarily. We've actually just been given too much. Like we've been given disproportionate amount, and then maybe it's like a mindset thing, but that it should be given.
I think we should go back to the central. Do you want to enjoy?
Yeah, I feel like you would
2
enjoy
hours
this.
late.
Oh yeah, you would love this. Only 15 minutes.
Yeah, we're talking about philosophy. Grab a chair.
I think
Sit on someone.
Wait, I think we should go back to the question, like the theoretical question, like that. Do you have the responsibility? And I want to hear everybody. Like, let's go around. I think we haven't solved it. Like, it might not be solvable, but like you can think about morally. It feels like we have a responsibility, but logically, and Kyle, logically, bro, I earned the money. Like, why should I give it to you? So I want to hear what people like. Let's go around and like each person express. Okay.
because he doesn't have any of our opinions yet.
Yeah, like Slate.
Who was that guy? Maps.
Which guy?
Audrey's been trying to bring up people from Maps.
Finally,
Who's that guy? I forgot.
Which guy?
The guy that told you told Bill Gates he should donate all his money.
Oh yeah, I brought Kerr.
Pick up the phone and
Kerr
call.
Singer, Kerr Singer.
Donate your money. Call the number. Pick up the phone and call. Yeah, that's your point.
But
Never mind. Okay.
I think we do have a moral responsibility, but then it bridges like we have a moral responsibility to give money to once we need it, but it's different from what we actually do,
Right.
which led to my conclusion that we're morally inept. Like we know what we should do, but no one does it, and the fact that we defend what we don't do is morally like ineptness. I say.
Okay.
I have a question. Like, this is just for anybody to answer, but like, why do people think that it's something that we should do? I'm just curious.
Yeah, let's keep going on.
This
Just keep
goes
going.
back to- I like the inept thing. I guess I'll answer your question. I think it comes back to what I've been saying this whole time. There's different ways to give back. That doesn't have to be monetarily. And I think realistically, of course, we would all want to solve these big worldly issues, but like on a smaller, an average human, I think it's a lot more realistic for an average human to give back to society in an intellectual, purposeful, meaningful way that isn't monetary, but that has respect for other community and it isn't disproportionate in empathy. I don't think empathy should be disproportionate. So,
What do you mean with this part?
because what we were talking about, like, of course, like, I'd be more inclined to help one of you than some random person on the street because I know that I have a relationship with you. But theoretically, that empathy shouldn't be disproportionate, and I think that can be taught. I think education can improve humanity's empathy because I think it's a taught trait, and so that would be my solution, I guess, is education and improving. I think if we improve humanity's empathy and awareness, that will improve disproportionate wealth.
The only thing is that I feel like that also falls back into what Cole was saying earlier about it's hard to have empathy for someone if you haven't experienced. I don't think education can cover that.
But education can bridge experience. Yeah.
Like sometimes we've thought about it as like actual school, but I think like
Experience is
education. I think that's what
I think like our evolutionarily speaking, we aren't built to care about the people outside of our pack, and I think that's like obviously evolutionarily speaking, that's like a perfect thing. Oh, we are like pack creatures. We care. We have to make sure we survive so we can reproduce. But I feel like that falls under the bridge of moral inept. It's like why we aren't like morally like adequate.
We're intellectually able. We're intellectually able
It's like broader than
to
Earth.
think about the fact that we should be empathetic, but we're not emotionally evolved enough to be proportionately empathetic.
Why do you think morality goes against our evolution?
I don't think we need to be responsible. I think that creates a lot of resentment towards another community, and that leads to hate, and that creates a cycle. And I don't think you have to be responsible.
Yeah. Do you want to join us in this conversation? We have to.
Do you think the privileged are responsible for the unprivileged?
I almost feel
We already brought up Peter Singer, so you can't bring it up.
I brought
again.
yeah.
Sorry.
We've already debated this.
Yeah.
We've been
We're
debating
doing
a
our
lot of
2
things.
cents.
It started with
Like 2.5 hours. Nice
yeah, we
discussion.
kind of have to go.
Is privilege a dirty word?
No.
Yeah, it is.
Like, what does privilege mean?
Something that's
We've having experiences that other people don't. Being put in a situation that other people don't have.
being given something that we didn't deserve.
Yeah.
Do you have to be wealthy to have privilege?
No, not necessarily.
Is it a privilege to just be happy?
Yeah.
Yes.
What
I also
determines
think,
happy?
yeah, so this is what I'm saying. Like, purpose and meaning and growth should be prioritized over wealth.
Yeah.
And education and proportional empathy inherently solves that problem more than money does.
But
Because money isn't a means to an end for all people. Money is
Right.
an end for some.
I could give an underprivileged someone a lot of money, but that underprivileged someone could give me a lot of wisdom. Who benefits more?
Yeah. I would say the wisdom.
but it's very hard for those people who are poor. Like you can say, look, you're gaining so much wisdom. You're gaining so much experience. And they're like, I don't have a freaking house. I don't have a real... Like, it's hard for them to feel that.
And I also think the issue also though is
Yeah, I didn't enjoy it.
I feel like we want to say that
We're
money
almost done.
isn't the end all be all. Like I agree that money is something that, but it is. I think just realistically, like it comes back to wealth because it's like in the world we live in, wealth is that determined.
I've been trying to think about it above the poverty line just to make it more manageable, but realistically, yeah.
But if we are, like... Guys, we are the new generation. So if we think this is wrong...
Power to the people.
Like, the world right now as it is messed up, and this, like, money, right? Material wealth, that is success, that is privilege, that is happiness. But, like, realistic, it's ideal, but, like, we could change that.
Yeah.
I mean, it is, as I think, as we are born, you talked about moral ineptness, but I believe in morals. It's you who limits that morals can go farther than you think. We have the responsibility as we are born that we have to give back. That is like a responsibility of being born.
But I can't change my selfishness.
Yeah, and you also can't change what you were born into. Like I think we can't blame ourselves for being born into a situation.
We have the opportunity.
I agree.
We have a choice.
Yeah, we do have to.
Yeah, no one makes that choice.
So is it worse? Is it easier to be born less privileged because then you don't have to struggle with living a life of privilege?
Yeah.
Hold on. I think it's easier. I think like wealthy people could say that to make themselves feel better.
Yeah.
Right.
Also, I think therefore I am. Those people have less time to think. Just like
Maslow's hierarchy.
This is a privilege. Like this conversation is a privilege.
Alright, we'll end it there.
Thanks for listening to The Full Journey, from motivation to meaning to moral chaos. We've been asking some big questions, and maybe we didn't find answers, but maybe we found each other a little bit more. Follow Squirrel and share with a friend who loves to overthink things too.